Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's Tony from Safe Haven, and I wanted to take a few minutes today to talk about the 5 things that I did that helped me a lot in terms of my healing up from narcissistic abuse. Now, I posted a video a few days back about the 5 things that I messed up in. And today I figured, you know what? Let's talk about the 5 things that I know actually help me, and hopefully they'll help you. If you see a cat tail or ears or paws or something pop in the camera at any point in time, please understand that it's my cat, Kirk, who is an attention hog. See if he wants to make a little cameo here. Yep, there he goes. That's my little Kirky Poo. Say hi. All right. His brother Spock is currently at the water fountain. Yep, see, there goes the old tail. Anyway, so without further ado, the 5 things that I did that really helped me in my narc abuse recovery, right? And mind you, I'm not 100% healed. I don't think you ever become 100% healed. You do grow, you do become stronger. But it's sort of like when you're in a really bad car accident, or when um, when you have a loss, right? When you have to grieve, and that loss is always there. You were in a relationship with somebody who not only broke you, but broke your trust, broke your confidence, broke your confidence and trust, not only in reality itself, but in yourself and others and them. So you're dealing with a lot, right? And you never truly bounce back 100%. You never go back to how you were before. That's for sure, right? You never go back to that naive, like, la da da, the world is a jolly place. It's like, no, you're constantly looking at people sideways. You're constantly reevaluating yourself. You're constantly asking yourself, did I do the work? Is this a repeat? Am I going to wind up with somebody like this again, or someone like this going to get in my orbit again? So yeah, you don't get 100% after narc abuse. You get better if you choose to. You get stronger if you choose to, but you don't get 100%. But anyway, moving on. The first thing that I did that helped me with my healing was I got deep into the rabbit hole of YouTube, blogs, vlogs, all that stuff. I'm going to put a couple of links in the description below of some really great resources of YouTubers. Some are, professional life coaches, so they're going to give you the nitty gritty. Some of them are like psychologists, therapists, etc. And some are just like me, average Joe Schmoes who got a lot to share and have actual value to add to the narc abuse community. Me personally, I would spend hours and hours. When my discard first happened, when my relationship with my next just tanked, um, I went and did, I would say, in about a month. Let me see, 10 to 12 hours of YouTube a day times 7. Okay, so we're looking at about, let's say, 70 hours of YouTube. You times that times 4 weeks, 280 on the low end, all right? 280 hours of YouTube watching. I would watch YouTube while I was at work. I would watch YouTube when I would wake up. I would watch YouTube when I go to bed. I'd watch YouTube when I'd get up at 3, 4 in the morning because I couldn't sleep because I was so flabbergasted and so distraught and despondent about the fact that the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with was currently warming the bed of somebody else, right? Um, I, I was on it all the time, all the time. Go down the rabbit hole. There are a lot of good resources out there. Listen, there's so much information. If you don't know about narcissism and what to do in certain situations, or the most common situations, the how, the who, the what, the why, the where, it's kind of on you, to be honest with you, right? I'm not gonna lie to you. There's so much information. I remember I started putting the pieces together because I watched a video on Psych to Go talking about sociopaths, and I was like, holy cow, wait a minute, these things are very similar to what I seen in others, and then I started asking questions. I started clicking more videos, and then everything came together. And I remember when I first realized that I was with narcissistic individuals in a romantic way, I I was sick. Okay, I literally wanted to throw up. I was crying for days. I was broken. I was just I was floored by what I found out. But I'll tell you one thing, finding all that out really did help me in my healing process, because once you become grounded in the truth, well, once you ground yourself in truth, you kind of have no other option but to grow from it if you choose to. Now, of course, you can choose not to, and you can choose not to listen, and which you'll pay the price later down the road, right? You're going to pay the price now or pay the price later. And there were times which I didn't listen, right? And you can see that in my other video, which I did allow a Hoover. I did allow that person to come back. I allowed both of my narcissistic individuals to come back in my life in a romantic way. It was the biggest mistake of my life, right? It set my healing back tremendously. So don't do it. But I'd advise you, dig deep into YouTube, dig deep into forums online, dig deep. Now, the second thing that helped me in my narc abuse recovery was I went on Facebook and I found tons of groups that help people recover from narc abuse. Some were geared towards men specifically, others were geared towards men and women. And let me give you a little bit of advice with that, okay? Your best bet is to join a couple of groups, if you get randomly kicked out from a group, please don't take it seriously, or please don't take it to heart. A lot of times moderators will, if they see your post getting a lot of traction, or if they see that you're talking a lot or whatever, they will take it upon themselves to just kick you out and not say a word, right? And that's just the nature of the beast. But don't let that discourage you. My advice, get into these groups, read the posts, read the questions, try to help out where you can, but mainly be there to learn and listen, right? And if you get to make friends with certain people, which I did, I've made a couple of friends that stayed with me as friends even after either the groups dissolved, or somebody got kicked out, or we just found that the group wasn't as helpful anymore. We stayed friends, and we would check on each other, and we still do that to this day. So I highly advise that. Again, if you go into these groups and you're expecting people to coddle you and all that, that doesn't happen all the time. There are groups. I'm part of a group for male narc abuse victims that is actually ran by a woman. And I'll put a link to her channel in the description. That's actually very helpful, and the men in the group are very supportive of each other. They hold each other accountable. They pull no punches, and they don't go out of their way to be jerks with each other, right? Even for the newbies, right? A lot of times we start seeing the same questions repeated over and over and over in these groups, because it's from people who are just learning about this for the first time. And I've been in some groups in which people are like, oh my God, you don't know this stuff yet, blah, 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 and then I've been in groups like the one I'm a part of now, and they're like, hey, it's all right, you got this, bro, stand strong, blah, 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 right? So get yourself a part of those groups, right? The third thing that helped me in my narc abuse recovery was to remind myself consistently that I was not the last person or the first person to undergo this. Not only was I not the only victim of my exes, but I'm just not the first or the last person to go through this. I saw this play out with my own parents. I've seen this play out with the lives of my friends. I've seen this play out in the church. I've seen this play out a lot of times. So please get out of your mind that you are by yourself. You're the only one who was in a relationship with somebody who wound up, either cheating on you, discarding your family, treating you like dirt, running off the next person, making the next person seem like the best thing since sliced bread, talk dirt about you, lie about you, say and do things in a way that will ultimately hurt you the most. Like, you're not the last person, you're not the first person to go through this. So knowing that and reminding myself of that really helped me, because a lot of times, when pity parties come on and I'm just sitting here home by myself and I'm like, oh man, I'm missing the person I was with, or I'm missing the kids, or I'm missing the life I had before. Oh my goodness, I'm such a failure. It's like, nah, dude, you're not a failure. You ain't the first one to go through this. You ain't the last one. Keep that in mind, okay? There are thousands. They ran a poll in which it's like, oh, like what? I'm probably butchering the numbers here, but they're saying that like the narc population in America is about like 10% or something like that. It may actually be even a bit higher, maybe like 1 in 5 or something. I don't know, but it's a pretty high number, right? So that means there's a lot of people who are getting affected by this, and we live in a society today that's heavily narcissistically driven. Look at how we are on social media, right? We have to do things and say things and act in a way to get ourselves more and more attention, right? Look how we are in our politics. Look how we are in our movies and all that. And it's not self-love. It's just straight up do what's best for yourself and forget everybody else, right? So, yeah, that's something that really helped me, just, reminding myself that, hey, look, you're not the first person, you're not the last person. The fourth thing that helped me in my narc abuse recovery was, and I've talked about this in another video, was journaling. Believe it or not, I journal a lot. I don't journal as much anymore, but when the discard first happened, every day I was writing, I was pouring out my feelings, my heart. I was just, in tears. And I was also doing something else. What I was doing was I would go, especially like on my online journal that I had, I would go and find articles about narcissism and narcissistic traits and how to deal with these individuals. And I would copy and paste the links to these articles. I would screenshot certain key points and I paste these into my journal. And then I'd write my responses to them or what I'm learning or whatever. And every time I would think about the situation or feel down, I would open up the journal, or I would go online or go on my phone or whatever, read the journal entries that discuss these very questions I was having. And because I was able to journal, I was able to record in real time how I was feeling and my growth and my reactions. Now, as I said, I don't do it as much anymore because I'm at the point in my life in which I'm like, okay, I'm more focused on moving forward and growing. One of the things that I did, and a lot of times people will tell you not to do this, so take this with a grain of salt. But one of the things I did was towards the end of my last relationship with an ex, I went and screenshotted and stored a lot of the text messages that she gave me back and forth. And these text messages weren't the lovey-dovey ones. These were the ones in which she was validating and manipulating and justifying her decisions to hurt me, to hurt my children. She was justifying the pain. She was gaslighting, manipulating, etc. I screenshotted these messages and I stored them. And I would highlight, okay, this was gaslighting, this was manipulation, this is not true, blah, blah, blah. So every time I feel like, well, maybe she's not a narc. Maybe this wasn't as bad as it was. Maybe I can go back to this person. I look at those journal entries with those, screenshots in them. I'm like, wait a minute, this person said this person said that. No, 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 right? And yeah, again, as I said, I let a Hoover happen. It lasted for like a week and a half, and then boom, things went right back to where they were. And yes, I journaled that issue too. And I learned about it, and more about it. Hoovering, I learned more about how to protect myself from that. And again, it all served as a written record as to my growth. Again, when those questions would come up in my mind, just consult my journal. And I suggest you do the same. A journal is also a good place where you can write down, and hopefully, even if it's on your notes on your phone or whatever, write down 10 to 20 things that you are free of, or that the narc did or was doing to you that was wrong. And every time you feel a little woozy, just consult that list. That's a great place to put that list, in your journal, wherever you can reach it, right? And you can even flesh it out and talk about it, right? So that was a big help, big tool that I used. The next and last thing was that I asked myself, Tony, what's your vision for your future, right? And I'm not gonna lie, it took me several months to even come together with a vision, because when the discard originally happened, I didn't want to move forward with my life. I didn't want to explore new options. I didn't want to date. I didn't want to spend time with anyone new. I didn't want to look in my career and reevaluate, do I really want to be in this career? Do I want to change it? I didn't even want to even move from my place. I wanted to stay here indefinitely, because this was the place that I shared with my narcissistic ex, right? And I was like, oh man, there's nothing out there exciting for me, blah, 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 blah. And it took me months coming out of that doldrum from journaling and, connecting with others, et cetera, and so forth. But the moral of the story is I had to look at myself and say, what is my vision for my life? And I haven't gotten into that until, I would say, for real, 3 months ago. Okay, ending in around the end of July. We're now in October. Around mid-July, I started asking myself some hard questions, and I started coming up with answers. Do I want to stay in my career, or do I want to change a career? No, I'm going to stay in my career. Well, how do I go deeper into it? Well, this is what I got to do. Okay, do I want to, continue dating this person, or do I want to date somebody else? No, I want to continue. I want to date somebody else. Okay. Do I want to start a YouTube channel, or do I want to keep this knowledge to myself because I'm camera shy? No, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Do I want to go to therapy, or do I want to abstain from therapy? No, I'm going to go for therapy. And if I'm not going because of time constraints or whatever, I'm going to find a therapist that works with my time schedule. Do I want to move, or do I want to stay? No, I want to move. I want to get a place that's more in line with my vision for my life, and not just, 2-car garage and a white picket fence, right? All these questions, and you yourself have to ask yourself these questions. What's your vision? And you may not get the answer today or tomorrow or next week, but just be open to the universe telling you what those answers are. Be open to the universe tapping on the shoulder and say, hey, remember when this particular topic used to bring you joy? Remember when you were really interested in doing this? Hey, remember when you really wanted to travel here, or go there, or visit this place, or do that thing, or pick up that hobby, or try that instrument, or learn that language? Let the universe talk to you. Guarantee your ears have been drowned out, or the universe's voice has been drowned out, because the narc X has been all up in your ear, dictating, manipulating, telling you how to live your life and how not to live your life, and how they want you to go forward. Now that you don't have them in your life, now your life can be a blank slate. And if you got off the beaten path, it's never too late to go back. It doesn't matter if you're in the 50s, 60s, 70s. It ain't too late. It ain't too late. Get back out there. All right? You're awesome. Yeah, you was with somebody who didn't appreciate you, but that doesn't mean that you wasted your life. They just wasted their life with you. You know why? Because they're still the same, and you out here about to improve. You're about to level up. You're about to be better. And they're over here scamming the next person. Shame. So anyway, I hope those 5 things helped you. Put a comment in below. What were some things that helped you in your narc abuse recovery? For the new people, comment, ask questions. There are a lot of folks who've been around the mulberry bush with this one who are willing and able and glad to help y'all. Okay? Me included. I may not always reply to my messages or my comments in a timely manner, and I'm working on that. So, folks, step on up. People who've been through this before, talk about it. Share your stories. Share how you healed up. What were some things that you did? I may even make another video talking more in depth about other things regarding how I healed up or how I got back onto the road of recovery. Because remember, I was healing up and then I derailed myself and I had to get back on. Anyway, guys, in life, you're either going through it or growing through it. I hope this video helps you to grow through it. Y'all be blessed.